Welcome. This is the Town of Darien Sewer Commission regular meeting on Tuesday, May 3rd, 2022. We're calling the meeting to order at 4:35 p.m. We are back in person, live, in room 206 at Town Hall.
Ready to entertain the general public.
Ready to entertain
Hi, Bob.
anybody.
Hi, Bob. We hope you're feeling better.
Ready to manage the effluent of the affluent. All right, it is item number 2.
You wait years to say that.
Item number 2 on the agenda, minutes of March 1st.
I think there were changes to those, and I see
Yes.
that they
Oh,
made
that's
them.
the earlier one.
It
Yes,
looks much,
there was some
much better.
confusing sections,
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
feel comfortable with
I
the
do.
edits.
I would make a
provided.
motion, unless anyone else has any.
I was here
corrections.
for that, so I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor? All right, March 1st minutes approved. April 5th minutes.
I also thought those looked. It was a very small meeting.
You know I wasn't here.
That's right, you were on vacation.
I was on.
Yeah, it was my anniversary. I wasn't sure what we wanted to do. I just completely forgot to call you guys.
8. It was 10.
Change that to absent.
Yep. All right. These look good to me.
Yeah,
Anybody else?
barring any changes from somebody else, I'd make a motion to approve the minutes of April.
Second.
All those in favor? 3, oh, sorry. You
The
have
sewer superintendent wasn't here, minor correction.
Okay, minor correction to note that Ed left us flailing in the wind alone, abandoned,
But
betrayed.
he was thinking about you.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, I'm sure.
All those in favor, I think it was 3,
Yeah.
with 1
Abstained,
abstention.
yeah.
Reese
I wasn't
abstains.
Who was
Reese
first?
I
Reese
wasn't
is
here.
abstaining.
I wasn't there
Who was
either.
first on the second set?
It's okay.
Susan moved it.
I moved
and
it,
Peter
and Peter
seconded.
seconded.
Peter, thank you.
All right, sorry,
Witnessed it.
for not listening. Item number 3 on the agenda, we have a residential development opposed for 7 Sedgwick Avenue that you felt was necessary to bring to our attention.
So I passed out some emails to you guys tonight. We were told that, well, we tried to get them to come, you'll see from the second email, we tried to get them to appear before the commission and to submit some material to you for your review consideration. As of press time and since then, for this agenda, we have not heard from them, and they have not submitted anything. So, sewer superintendent thought it was a good idea if we included at least the communication that we did have, and that would give you an opportunity to see.
10,000-foot thing, like,
Is this the Bank of America building?
What's that?
Wait, is this the Bank of America?
Yeah, I think it's the bank. I know it's a bank. I think it's the Bank of America. It's on
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
northwest corner.
Yep.
and what are they
So-
proposing to do there?
Change it into, I don't know, over 20 apartments.
You kidding?
Yeah, that's what's proposed.
It'll be elevated.
Yeah,
and
it's a
parking
high rise,
underneath.
right?
Where's the
Parking?
parking?
Yeah,
underneath?
parking underneath.
Parking underneath?
At grade level.
Who was on the flood study committee in '07? You were?
Honestly, that kind of works.
How many
because You're
floors?
allowed to do residential construction in the floodplain as long as the lowest level is only used for
Yeah.
parking,
I think it's
storage, and access
23.
to the building, and if it's up on stilts,
How
it's
many
not-
floors?
Stop
No,
any
2
flood
or
waters.
3, but
Oh,
if you
2.
include the
So
parking
does
garage.
that mean-
No,
2
absolutely
floors
not
above the
stilts.
parking
No,
garage. 23
Like the
units.
bay.
It'll be
Right.
probably like
Right.
the building
Right.
on,
They're allowed to do it.
further up Sedgwick, I mean, the height, further up
I guess you can
Sedgwick
build a
on
bathtub.
Code's in your favor.
Uh,
I have to
Coast
imagine it's
Road,
probably
you know,
30
where
G
the-
if they're doing this, but we'll see.
hamburger places and the,
Don't know, burgers,
You know-
Five Guys or whatever it's
Yes.
called, Burger Shakes.
Burger
Yeah.
Shakes and Fries,
Yeah.
it's behind there.
piece about that height probably.
Okay. So
Yeah.
we've been made aware of a residential development on 7 Sedgwick Avenue, and we would expect to see some sort of presentation to us before issuing a sewer permit or responding to any referral from the Planning and Zoning Commission. Fair enough?
I think that's what we were looking for.
Okay.
Yeah.
A little guidance. We all know that area down there is sensitive.
Yeah, we had some
Yeah.
overflows on Mechanic Street.
Sure.
It's in the flood zone. We should make sure everything's gonna be hunky-dory.
Okay.
And we should not respond, at least on sewer commission-related matters, to a referral from planning and zoning until they make a presentation to us.
Have we done, has any of the consultants done any analysis, flow analysis of the system there at all? Any refinement in the last 2 or 3 years?
Yeah.
Yeah, Arcadis looked at Mechanic Street, right?
Yeah.
Not only that, the, kind of in the area, the old town hall homes, they set up some flow monitoring when they did their development
That was up on the post road, though,
on the
Yeah.
post road, yeah.
not down into the
Yeah,
mechanic.
how does this,
that's-
how does
Not
this?
down Mechanic Street, but the confluence is at Mechanic Street and the
Got it.
post road at the bridge.
Before I leave, I have a thumb drive, and I want to give it to you because you promised me to get me the mapping, the storm and sewer mapping, and I brought you a thumb drive.
Wow.
Whatever you just said, yes.
It's in my car.
Bring a thumb drive.
Oh, can we all bring a thumb drive and get the storm and sewer mapping?
Bring the thumb drive. We'll download whatever you want.
So we have an idea of how it might, this area might function vis-a-vis relate to the water, to the sewer shed?
I don't know if we have
No.
an idea. I think, you know, we probably want to see flow monitoring at
Oh, I-
Mechanic Street because we've had overflow problems there.
I think we should.
I mean, it's only fair for the developers moving forward to give them an idea of what all the traffic on the road is at the same time he's moving forward. This is one thing he needs to do.
Sure,
Yeah.
and if
It's
you
not
look at the
fair.
second
Yeah.
email, I tried to give them as much information as I could to let them know what to expect and kind of lay out a roadmap for them, but we have not heard back from them.
Okay, well, you got your guidance, right? Item,
Thank you.
And just one more point, I know it wasn't here at the last meeting, and I know there was some discussion about when we should or shouldn't bring it forward to, I think, as much as we'd like to put a number to it, and I know from what Darren said, we're gonna talk about every single one that comes through here has any significance, but in special areas where we know that there's an issue out there in our sewers and we had problems previously.
well, at the very least, as memorialized in the minutes of the last meeting, the sewer commission has already discussed setting a threshold of at least 8, that was Bob's opinion, 10 was my opinion.
I'm at 0.
As,
All.
oh, I don't want to see a 2-lot
Well, we can
subdivision.
always put it in other businesses, just bring it up. And if it's something that anyone thinks is an issue,
Yeah.
take it further. Because that's something that we would do on P and Z.
Yeah.
Staff would say, hey, you know, just to
But
let
then
you guys
you're
know,
on a 2-lot, on a,
we're looking at laterals that aren't perfect coming off of a house. So our level of refined analysis on some things, sewer
but
appeals.
then you're the person that needs to do it, and you gotta wait 3.5 weeks to talk to the sewer commission, and then someone on the sewer commission doesn't understand what you're talking about, you gotta wait another month, I mean, like, there's
I
got.
get the delay part, Craig.
There's
believe
gotta
me.
be a customer service element to reasonable things that can move quickly without us. We have very
Then it should come in
talented
like
staff
a-
I
members
understand
between
that.
these
I mean,
guys
I
and
get the
and
tension,
Tony and
believe
Tony.
me.
and-
I will tell you though, as much as I like the fact that you tried to put a number to it, there was 10, there was 8. If this was 7, we'd still be talking about it right now.
Because it's
Fair enough.
mechanics.
Because of the area.
All right.
So when we
maybe-
draft the
that's
language, it needs to be
tripwire.
based on any knowledge of the immediate
It's-
receiving sewer
Yep,
being
exactly.
deficient. you
Known
know.
sensitive.
It gets kicked up,
Yeah.
any known sensitive issues, yeah.
Yeah. something
I'd
that-
prefer to
that's
have you guys go,
common sense.
yeah, that's, go ahead and move ahead with that one. Or, yes, we'd like to see a presentation and there's going to be some analysis done before any referrals.
And the other thing, when I've pointed this out in the past, and I know sometimes you get busy, but I think it's important to, we happen to have some folks on the commission that, have a lot of land use experience, are engineers, have a lot of wastewater experience. But, I really think you guys are the ones answering the questions and doing the inspections. You should be feeding us the information and telling us the decisions we're supposed to make, right? Instead of us trying to design by committee from the bench, right?
No, I think sometimes though, Craig, I get a feeling that I I miss you with a shot, you know what I'm saying? I'm thinking you'll do one thing, and I've missed by a little bit. And-
Really?
and, well, it's happened a
like
couple
that.
times,
We gotta
and
keep
I would
track of
prefer,
those.
and we'll come, listen, I'm gonna have
Curious
concerns
about
about our system now, because we're finding out more things about it, right?
Yeah.
So as I come across those, I'm gonna bring them to your attention, and when there's developing those areas, I'm gonna say, we'll come in and say, we're gonna ask them to do a full-blown study out here, we're gonna ask them to meter the flows, we're gonna put you on notice that that's what we're going to do because of
Yeah.
the area.
Yes.
And it's also good to
Perfect.
have, hey, if it's more than 10 units, we'd like to see the same thing done too.
Perfect.
Well, and I think to address Reese's concern, I know on EPC, when they make administrative decisions now, they bring it to the commission. The commission knows about it.
Yeah.
So whether or not it delays anything, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't see there's any harm in letting us know.
Well,
Just-
got-
so
yeah,
we're
well,
all
there's
educated. Those of us who-
There's inform. Inform is fine.
Yeah, inform. And they can decide, and if then we say, well, wait a minute, you know, they'll learn where our
I
concerns
mean, we're all
are.
on the same team. There's
Right.
no doubt about that. We're the advocacy that goes to the grocery store and explains how this works to people
Yeah.
and how the process works. And you're right, 3 weeks to a month is a delay.
Yeah.
Which is like when this guy's gonna do a large scale project, getting us in the queue at the
Yeah.
right time is.
Yeah, but this is
just
gonna
be-
take, you know, for something like this, it'll take months and months and months anyway, so we can fall in line with whatever processes they're going
Right.
through. I'm more worried about, you know, again, the
Well,
ones and twos.
I
that-
mean, I went to a tree warden hearing downtown, and there were people very concerned about trees as David Genovese was
Yeah.
starting his project.
Yeah.
And there are tripwires, and sometimes that isn't fair to everyone, including developers.
Yeah.
So I'm with you there.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just difficult to have that 8 units or less thing. I don't agree with it, because sometimes one
Yeah,
unit
you know,
is a problem.
and I'm not suggesting that you should get a free pass or that we shouldn't know about it. I'm just, you know, there's gotta be some,
I mean, an email could
So-
go
so
out.
right
What do you
now-
guys think? It doesn't have to be in.
the general public should understand the rules. You know, and right now, the rules are, if we think it's gonna be a problem, you're gonna
Yeah.
present to us.
Right.
I don't love those rules.
Who wants the engineer in you? And I understand that completely.
Yeah.
But I don't know how you've got a template that absolutely performs.
You don't,
Because-
but at least, you know, you get 85% of them in a bucket, and then it's the 15%
I don't
that
agree
still
on
go
the
to
number
the
of
may
buckets.
affect rule,
I
you know?
mean, what we've discussed here is perfect. In a known area of consideration, it isn't 8 units, it's let's look at it.
Yeah.
It could be one more unit,
Yeah.
and it's a problem.
Yeah.
In other areas where there's great flow, you know, I'm not as inclined to think that there's a problem.
Yeah.
And that we don't need to vet it on that level. Does that make sense? So I guess I just have a different tuning fork than you do, but we're both hearing the same music.
How many apartments are gonna be in this thing, 20?
I don't know if we know.
Over 20. I think it's 23, but definitely in the 20 range.
830G? Is it an 830G or is it just inclusionary zone, do you know? You
Yeah,
don't know?
it doesn't make it across the hallway that way.
Yeah.
The plans come over,
It's going to be a sewer connection.
it's gonna be a sewer connection with parking underneath and drainage.
Just a thought, I think, about, when you looked at this, you said, looks like there may be a problem here, you know, because we know where the area is. So after you looked at it, you said, well, I think we need this, this, and this. I hope that's what you said, right? And then you would come here and say, okay, here's what I think we need, and I think, or I hope that you think the same way. Because,
Yeah.
you know,
Mhm.
you do this every day, right? And you don't. And all we're here to do is, it's not to, you know, give anybody a blank check, but
We're citizen oversight, right?
Yeah.
We are, just like the property owners that would be asking for a sewer permit, we are residents and property owners in town. And so we're providing oversight to make sure you guys aren't going nuts, you know, and that's basically it. That's the way I see our job at least.
No, So like I said, I missed last week, and I don't want to belabor, but I was trying to get a feel for your feedback.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't here.
It could be as simple as like, hey, we hear this is coming, what do you guys think? And I think it's the level of sensitivity where there are known problems.
Yep.
If this is right near the sewer plant on near Water Lane, you know, is it as big an issue as somewhere further down the system? You have to kind of look at it that way.
Yep.
That's all. That's where I come from, not number of units.
yeah, but I mean, if you told me that you needed 3 studies or something like that with some, what could I say? Yeah.
Okay.
And it's not, I
So
mean,
tell us
again,
what you
where I'm
expect.
used to it is, Norwalk created a 10-unit threshold, where
Yeah.
they can require flow tests.
Yeah.
And they don't always require flow tests. They'll look at it at 10 and say, well, oh, you're tying right into a main,
Yeah.
you know, we know that one's fine, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But for them, it gets the argument out of, well, you guys have such high connection fees, why are you now penalizing me with this? And they say, well, because our regs say that if you're over 10 units, we can. You know?
I get
So
it.
it provides some
Well, that's,
teeth.
Pretty guidance,
Yeah.
yeah, I can see that. You're looking at the other way, okay.
that's trouble. Once you pass a law, you gotta live with it.
So I won't be back here to ask you. I will let you know what our thoughts are and how we're
Yeah.
going to move forward, and you
Great.
can.
Thank you, sir.
Boy, I like that.
Again, my
Comment on that if you'd
my-
like.
The main thing I'd be concerned is where does it fit in the system? And what are the
Sure.
problems it could cause?
Yeah.
Furthest away, more
And-
problem, closest away, less problem.
And like I said, we are analyzing our system more and more now as we do more and more of the study, right? And I'm seeing things you guys don't get to see just yet, and knowing certain areas, but you all happen to be aware of Mechanic Street.
I
We
mean, if
wanted,
you-
because we had talked about it, I wanted to bring this right, to show you how we're going to move forward with it. This is one that we're gonna ask them to do a study on, and an about analysis on that Mechanic Street station with some flow metering.
If you were to tell, come and say, there's gonna be these kind of problems in here, and this may happen, but, we've figured out what to do in that event. I mean, what else could one say except, yeah?
Okay.
Because no one can really. I
Yeah,
mean,
it
I
should-
don't
it
think
should
any
be a
of us are,
technical decision.
Anything could happen, but, I mean, within whatever one can see, there's no such thing as perfection. If something else happens, well, we have to deal with it, that's all.
Okay.
We good on 3?
Good.
Thank you.
All right, 4, fats, oils, and grease separators, de minimis discharge requirements.
Yeah.
Anthony Cohen asked that we bring this before you. We're shooting for quarterly testing and cleaning, and apparently 2 people have already asked for waivers, and Anthony is recommending that even if we grant relaxation, that we only go to 6 months. Also, probably not written in here, in Anthony's experience, he's recommending indoor units not be dependent upon electricity, get a mechanical unit, because the second we leave our inspection, the plug comes out of the wall, easy enough. And
So why are they asking for waivers?
Can't get it done.
they don't want to do it quarterly.
Because
They
they just
don't-
don't want you to look at their,
They just don't want to do the
Well, if it's,
testing.
again, if it's a de minimis discharge, so if it's a facility that just does not generate a lot of grease, it is just a waste of money to do it quarterly. And so if in the opinion of our inspector who goes there and looks at the kitchen operation and the amount of stuff that they're using and the frequency and says, you guys are right, I think that it's a reasonable request and we
like a
should honor
juice
them.
bar, one of the juice bar
Yeah,
kinds of
yeah,
places?
whatever it
Okay.
is,
I
whatever.
still need education.
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
I would just even, some,
This is technical.
Well,
You know,
what-
like
yeah,
a- I mean,
what do
you
you
know.
all think about it?
Yeah.
I think it has some valid standing. It also requires, more oversight into the request for the de minimis reduction, if you will. Tony said, he's willing to do that, to set these folks up if they meet the requirements
Yeah.
of a de minimis facility.
So we would waive the quarterly requirement if it's deemed that the likelihood.
But only
is-
push it to 6 months, not a year. Like, I think that this document,
You want a year.
he had gotten this from
From the state,
from the state, and where it does allow for a year, but I just don't think, I think a year is a little bit too long. If after 6 months, there's
All right.
there's an opportunity to go back again, maybe we do, but I think
But
this
you
is as a
never,
trial.
again, you never know the situation, right?
So-
Let's take a snack bar at the beach that's open for 3 months.
Yeah.
I mean, doing it every 6 months doesn't make sense. Doing
No,
it once a
and
year
that-
makes sense, you
Not-
know?
So,
Yeah.
so you want to
At
add.
the beginning and the end of the season.
Yeah.
It would be every 3 months, and then they could wait 9 months.
You want to add to this paragraph on de
This
minimis
is,
discharge, right?
Uh,
By
Yeah,
adding
it's
some
highlighted
sort of
plus.
minimum.
No, what,
No?
Two of
let's not change something that doesn't need to be changed. I mean, I think they're telling us what staff's recommendations are
Yeah,
under the rule,
yeah.
and it's their decision to make. And if someone doesn't like the authorized agent's decision to say, I'm only giving you 6 months, not 12 months, they can appeal it to us and they can talk to us.
Okay. All right,
And
so,
Anthony said he's seen the
You say
menus
it's already
change.
here.
What's that?
Anthony said he has seen menus change, that's why he doesn't want to
Yeah.
let them go a full year, because,
Then they'll
Yeah.
change the
It could
menu.
happen where-
Start cooking fries.
yeah.
And we're not up to date on those changes that type in a restaurant. And it's helpful that we keep it at a manageable time period in case something does change.
Okay.
No,
We're not getting hit for a long period of time.
I would love to,
All right, I got it.
It also-
the more we can empower our highly qualified staff, the better.
And a change of ownership triggers a re-inspection, right? Something to that effect?
Yes.
We're supposed to get notified so we can go
Okay.
out and check it, make sure everything's up and running when they start.
Transfers the liability to the new
You're
owner.
on it.
Make sure the thing's plugged back in.
Is there any way you can mandate that be hardwired? Like screw it in somehow so it doesn't pull out?
I don't want to overstep my bounds with the
Got it.
building department
Yeah, I'm
or the
thinking
health
that
department.
probably-
There's always a
That's all
circuit
I'm
breaker.
Right, right.
You
You always turn it off, right?
Oh, you can switch the circuit breaker.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
whatever,
that-
it doesn't.
You could.
That plug may be
motor
in.
out.
If you didn't want to do it, there's
Right,
ways to
right,
not
right,
do
right.
it.
What am I thinking?
You can put a GFI, maybe that's
You
on,
need an
plugged in there,
alarm.
that's why it's plugged in, that type of thing.
You need an alarm on the circuit breaker.
Yeah, yeah. Are we good on 4?
Camera.
You're okay with us moving ahead and
Yep.
applying?
Use your
Use your.
Better judgment?
discretion and judgment,
And
please.
magic.
Craig has said highly
Nope.
qualified twice.
He
today
did.
since
I
I've
did,
been-
No
don't
motion.
push it.
3 times.
Oops. Okay.
Item 5, 246 Norotan Avenue, Ryan Perone and Chelsea Taka.
This is another Anthony Tacone. He's been chasing this guy for a while. And since we published the agenda and distributed it, that would be yesterday, he got a call from the guy. Apparently, he was having trouble getting somebody to do the inspection. No plumber wanted to take responsibility for somebody else's work. When Anthony finally started a real conversation with him, he explained not what we're trying to do. The video is the inspection. Not gonna hold anybody responsible for what somebody else did. Somebody's gonna be responsible for it, but not the plumber who's doing the videotaping. So, happy to report, we think there's gonna be movement there.
progress,
Hopefully this
okay.
goes away.
That's good.
And so,
We good on 5?
nothing to do there either.
What was the backstory behind 246? Did they buy the house and then they had problems?
That was one of the ones we looked at. It was,
I don't remember it. Was
No.
that last month?
no, it was like a year, it was a while ago.
That was a while ago.
I don't know how he, it ended up on our radar.
January 8th, 2020, I don't remember how it ended up.
He's
on
been
our
writing
radar.
letters for a long time though.
Okay. Well, thank him for following up on it.
For his diligence, thank you.
Yeah.
Superintendent's report, and I have a request under superintendent's report, just, you're gonna talk about Old Kings Highway South. And maybe you don't have an answer, but I'm gonna ask the question anyway, which is, what about Phase 2? And are they working on Phase 2? Or have we authorized them to work on
Design,
Phase 2?
design.
Yeah.
I haven't authorized them to do it, nor have we worked up an estimate to go forward. I want to make sure we follow the same process we did to get the clean water funds for last design, so, yeah.
You want to get the funds first?
I just wanna do the work.
Well, The sewer relining is part of the work, and then
Yes, I know.
the next one, the next jump after that, if you're talking about Phase 2 construction,
Yeah.
then.
Design and construction.
As soon as they're done with this Old Kings Highway one, we're gonna jump right into Phase 2.
Okay.
And I'm in the process right now reviewing the bidding documents so they can put it out to bid. So when they're done with the bid documents here, when they go out on the road, we're gonna start the phase 2 design. I wanna get that going too.
Okay.
What's
Oh,
the-
okay.
what's
So
the
they
timeline?
they should be able to start the engineering design of phase 2
Mhm.
later this month, because they'll be done with the,
I would hope so. I wanna get this on the road to
CDs.
bid before the end of May
Okay.
for Old Kings Highway South,
okay,
and then start the phase 2.
yeah.
So-
Okay.
And when do you see that getting done? July, August, or further?
The scoping documents and the bid
Or
documents?
the actual
The
job?
construction?
Uh,
Old Kings Highway
next
is gonna
year.
take about 3 months to do.
Okay.
We talked about trying to run parallel programs, or construction projects, if you will. None of
But
us
the
thought
design
it was
of
a
the
really
building's
great
gonna take 3
idea.
months. I mean,
But I'd like to see how we're doing with Old Kings Highway, maybe halfway through, make a decision whether to put the other one out to bid, and we'll follow it up with the next one, and maybe I can get some done before the wintertime. That would be beneficial.
Would you start before winter, or was that be springtime next year?
I think we can
Most
break
of
it
the
up
stuff
enough
could
to
be
where
done.
it's broken up enough to where we can start, and if it gets too cold to do it, we stop, we put it away, we come back to it.
I think
in
a lot
March.
of the scope can be done most of the year, yeah.
And it's mostly,
I've done the lining at 20 degrees.
Mhm.
you get scared?
It's cold, and the machine gets cold, and things freeze, and the water that you're using freezes on the surface. It just gets a little dangerous, and it gets a little hairy with that liner, because if you lose that liner in there, or something happens to it, you end up having to pull it all back out, so. But we'll consult with the professionals. If they feel they can do it, it's on them.
Go, go, go. All right, I guess we covered C.
Yes, we did, as a matter of
I'll
fact.
let you control the superintendent's report from now.
Darren, you got A?
Want me to do A?
Sure.
We
Yeah.
thought that it would be nice for the commission to know, a couple of years ago, the commission voted to assist a resident in need who couldn't make the sewer payments. And we recently were informed by the tax collector that this guy is up to date. He has followed through on all of his commitments.
Cool.
Great.
So you folks were generous and gave him a break, and when he asked to make installment payments, and in fact, he's completed that, he's up to date now.
Fantastic.
Excellent.
That's nice.
Some good news for a change.
Yeah, kudos to Mr. Sudell.
Anyone could
You
be
got B?
in trouble.
Yeah, not a lot new to report on B. This is the first week in May. We're told our surveyor should be out there in both locations. And we have our surveyor coordinating with our wetlands soil scientist, which is going to be remapped for Stony Brook only. The Weed Beach report was deemed recent enough and comprehensive enough so that we won't have to do soil scientist wetlands delineation on the Nearwater site. But
As we talked about briefly at the last meeting, I had cause to review the February report from NOAA on projected sea level rise through 2150, and including 2100. And I made the aside at the last meeting, and I'll say it now because Ed is sitting here. This is the time to do them right. Because it's really about the more time we're gonna get out of them.
so,
Let me understand
yeah.
your
Higher?
No,
information
I'm
is-
saying even complying with current codes and standards fully
Mhm.
for each pump station should be our aim.
To buy us X amount of time, 50
Yeah.
years,
Yeah,
75
whatever it
years,
is, yeah.
whatever it is.
Yep.
Till something else.
Yep.
Okay, so current. You just said current.
Yeah, I'm not saying adding a greater freeboard or anything, or planning for
If
something
FEMA
different.
says 13, you're not saying 15.
Yeah, but FEMA says, well, I mean, look, right now, we know Weed Beach is at 10, and FEMA plus the local regs says 15.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
we're doing a lot to try to come into full compliance.
Okay.
But what my suggestion is that it's, I don't want to gamble with our risk analysis necessarily. Anyway,
Investing money down at that facility or either one of those facilities.
yes,
um,
is money well spent.
Is money well spent? I'm not gonna go crazy, go way above it and beyond, but if, you know, if it says do 15 and for some reason what makes sense is 16 and a half, well,
Yeah.
we're gonna do the 16 and
Yeah.
if it didn't cost any more or cause any
Yeah.
more anguish.
Yeah, that's fine.
But I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's also kind of, it's hard to shift your mind, right? You're out there looking at things and you're trying to like, wow, if we just did this and this and this, and, you know, it would be so much better, and it's true, it would be so much better if you did just this and this and this, but it's not, you know, maybe what needs to be done, you know? And we did talk about, you know, short-term options to give us, you know, X amount of hardening, and then long-term options to give us, you know, Y amount of
Well,
hardening.
the amazing thing is if we do it right now, Craig, we won't hear a problem when that storm comes. I'm
Yes,
sorry.
yeah, exactly.
When you say 15 or 16, what's the dimension on that?
That's elevation, 15 or
Elevation.
16.
Yeah.
50 high,
High,
yeah,
okay.
Sorry.
yeah.
I mean, you were
No,
gonna,
no, ground elevation, down
Yeah.
at the, you know, the
Yeah.
white,
I mean,
outside the
neighborhood.
building's at
I
10 or
mean, what are they
something.
expecting
And
about?
they expect something at elevation
in terms of
15.
flood?
Yeah, that's exactly the conversation we're having, so.
I mean, is it,
No, so the base flood elevation, I believe, the coastal base flood elevation now is 14 for Wheat Beach.
all right, so you're
And
going
the-
2 feet.
And the zoning regs, well, they're not doing anything yet, like, they
Yeah.
haven't figured anything out
Yeah.
yet. And so he was just kind of saying, if I had the chance and it wasn't any more money, maybe I would do more, right? But,
Or if we were building it new.
the
right now.
FIR map, yeah, exactly, yeah, the
Yeah.
FIR map says 14, and the planning and zoning regs say +1.
Okay. My ears perk up.
And this is
Although
I'm looking
I think
at it.
Arcadis did say something about critical facilities, Freeport is different than
Really?
FEMA.
Plus
You would
FEMA.
think, right, a little bit different
You
anyway?
would think,
Yeah,
you would
yeah.
think.
So you said 2150?
Are
Are we gonna still have raw sewage back then, or?
I don't know.
It's gonna be just evaporated in your home with a button.
Kind of like those wipes you brought in, eventually, they're
Yeah,
just gonna
eventually.
deteriorate, it's gonna deteriorate.
As long as it doesn't go directly to
Composting
drinking
toilets
water.
would be all the rage.
Okay.
All right.
Is that all on the pump stations?
Yeah, for the hard proof.
Okay, all right.
But you want to add E.
I did that. Talk about Baywater, the Corbin project, just to give you a quick update. They have about 250 feet in, and they hit a little rock as they've been doing this, so it slowed them down. I think they may be changing or thinking about changing the process right now to get them through that ledge. So they're
A
about
large
61, 62%. They're about 2/3 of the way down the road, so,
It's amazing how deep that was. I went and took a picture.
yeah.
And they figured out the vault and the crossing.
12 feet deep, 14 feet deep or something.
You sent me a picture, yeah.
Yeah.
It was, you looked deep.
They had, it's
But
good for those guys.
There's a lot of ledge.
Trench-
So,
I didn't think there'd be that much, but the boring said there was ledge there, so I guess we should believe the boring when we see them.
Yeah.
is
That underground
this
parking garage.
going to
Expensive.
resolve the inflow concern that we had over there?
As soon as they can get that connection made, yes.
Okay. Good.
Yep.
So you really found the holy grail of cross connections there?
It was an
Explains-
indirect
Really?
connection. It was pipe over pipe,
Really?
and it was leaking through the other. That's how the smoke and how the effluent was going one way, the smoke was going the other.
So no cross connection to a building or anything nefarious?
No,
Parking
but
lot, was just pipe
it
over
was,
pipe.
it was so evident or so porous, if you will, that the flows were getting through
Wow.
significantly enough.
Or I guess the catch basin could fill up with water and
Yeah.
then overflow into the pipe.
Flow down into the sanitary sewer, which the manhole is right there.
Yeah.
So it was making its way into the pipe
Mhm.
and
Where-
elevating the flow readings at the meters.
Were those well points really pushing water out? I mean, that whole thing was well pointed.
I don't understand.
The excavation
All the
on
excavation.
the east side of the road for the building
Okay.
had a lot of dewatering.
Oh, that's just the
There.
water.
But the dewatering was not going to the sanitary, it was going
Yeah.
to the storm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, they're
Huh.
cleaning it up. Try
And-
it.
I had that.
As soon as they stop, that water table's gonna come back
I
up
have no
again.
idea.
I had that problem over at General Foods Research Center in Terrytown. Had a well point, and we could just, God, we'd never get rid of the water. We found there was a pond behind the Chevrolet dealer.
Nobody looked. Huh?
Now it's a mud flat.
Yeah.
A vernal pool.
So I just wanted to give you an update on that. It was moving along really well until, I think last week, so they may change their process and get along a little bit more. I'd like to add one more item.
It's great they got
The near water generator issue that we had. I don't know if you folks were aware of it. A week ago, last Tuesday, after that big windstorm on that Monday night into Tuesday, we lost power down at near water pump station.
Wow.
From Post Road all the way down to Narone Bay was out, school was out, our pump station lost street power. The generator went to go on, and it only kicked on to about 3/4 of what the power we need to run our pumps were. So at 5 o'clock, 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, Steve gets an alarm, high wet well, we have no power, no pumps. He runs down there. 5:05, I get a call, him telling me we have no pumps, no power, the generator won't kick on. We're only getting 330 out of a 480 line. We lost a leg. It was just, as I tell Steve, I'll tell anybody that tells he was worried, he was nervous, and he was speaking a foreign language on the phone to me about the whole thing. So took a deep breath. We called, the electrician, we called our mechanic, we called Offshore Diesel. He took care of that. I called Darren. I got him on vacation. He came in too, so I want to thank him publicly. He took his time off to come in and help out when we needed help. Anthony Campanella, we all ended up in. I called Eversource, find out what the issue was. They hadn't even been notified of the power outage yet at 5:30, 5:45. So.
Is there any way to run an auxiliary generator, somehow tap it?
That's some of the things that happened. Our mechanic got down there and he shut the generator down, kicked it back on. It actually ramped up and started to pump for a little while, and then it shut down after 10 or 15 minutes. They did that a couple times, but we were getting so much flow that we started having an overflow. A manhole in the grassed area, 2 manholes up the street as you head towards Henley. That lasted for about 90 minutes until we reset it a couple times, and we finally got the pumps to run for about an hour and a half, and we got everything to come back down again. We pumped it right down, not knowing if that generator would go back out again. Same time we were calling Kingsley, we got a temporary generator. We had that delivered by 12 o'clock and had it up and running by 1. So we took our generator, we put it off, we put a bypass and brand new trailer generator and hooked that up now. That's sitting down there and is ready to be used. But so for 90 minutes we had overflows coming out.
So is the trailer generator that's down there right now on automatic failover? It's hooked up?
It is, as a matter of fact, and it's good because we needed it yesterday when the power went out again.
Oh, wow.
And it kicked over and started up and ran all 3 pumps without us even knowing. Normally we'll get an alarm when the generator goes off. This isn't hooked up to the alarm system, there's no way to do it. But we were notified when we got down to the power was out again, same leg, same pole, same closure, opened up again. Near water all out, but our pumps were running, had no overflows. So our SSO, after Darren did his high-level calculations, we figured about 5,600 of effluent overflowed outside our sewer, which, if you think about it, is just amazing and remarkable.
Well, yeah, skin of our teeth. Yeah, that goes back to our first conversation, right? Hardening that
Yeah.
station, because those generators, I remember we were out there a few months ago looking at those generators, and it was like, they run until they don't run. They don't build them like they used to, and now
The
we're there.
engine on that generator is fine.
Yeah.
The motor on that thing will run forever.
Yeah.
It doesn't have a whole lot of hours on it. What we think has failed on it is a reducer or a converter on the electric side, where it turns it into power.
Okay.
And there's 2 places to look at. So they were supposed to come yesterday. The guy canceled. He's supposed to come today. So we're still working on it, but we do have a backup generator set up and running right now down there. It's costing me about $5,000 a month.
Okay.
We've had it for 2 weeks. So
Okay.
we're pushing to see if we can get a resolution to what our issue is with that generator. But I still say that that 5,000 is a whole lot better than spending, I don't know.
And the DEP was
the
notified that day?
DEP coming down to see us. So
DEP was notified that day?
everybody needed notification was notified about the overflow.
Would it be worth having for the town to have a portable generator they could bypass, slam in everywhere?
Funny you should
Wire?
mention that. I'm taking the one from Ox Ridge. We were offered it from the school. And I'm gonna put it on a trailer.
There you go.
And we're gonna see if we can get it to run on our bigger items and I don't know, maybe the smaller ones. I don't know what kind of output it puts for electricity, but we're going to take a look at it and see if we can, at least these larger ones, see if we can get something out of it. So,
Cool.
Are they easy to hook up? Is there a way of hooking it up quickly? When you need to?
you would think there would be. To hook up this one, we actually had to wire it directly into the transfer switch,
Okay.
because you want the transfer switch to kick it over and start
Tell
up
it to turn on.
and start up the generator at the same time. So I can honestly tell you that when Steve called me, he told me there have been some dark moments for me when I get phone calls. That was one of those
Scary ones.
where you get a pit in your stomach and you're like, okay, what to do first.
Yeah.
So I think in talking with Steve, just working through that process, we had some really good people doing some really good things to keep it to where it was. Some knowledgeable people helping us keep it running until we could get somebody there to look at it too. So.
Was Eversource responsive to prioritizing the outage once they understood the nature of it?
I called her at 5:35. She got back to me at 5:45.
That's nice.
That's responsible.
Yeah.
You get the bat phone, right?
I do. The downside is she's moving up in the company, so we're getting a new liaison now.
Oh, was it Tracy?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, she was
And,
fantastic.
I think I bought, and I'll say this publicly, she'll call me at any time, anywhere, and I'll answer the phone. Because I know if I do it to her, she will do
Yeah.
the same thing back. And I think that amount of working respect over the last 8 years has fostered that, and I think it's appreciated on both sides.
Mm.
So.
Well, she's not leaving Eversource if you ever really ran into trouble. You could always reach out.
I
Please help
know,
me.
but-
Get
Send
this
me
guy
the
to call
right-
me back.
Yeah, get the person and call me.
But it'd have to be more like, I've called him 3 times and emailed him twice.
Yeah. Can I have
Has
his
he,
cell
has he,
number,
has he
please?
Can I
disappeared?
have his home address? I'm sending the
Is he
police.
still working for you guys?
But I wanted to give you that update. I didn't know if you folks were aware of it
I
or
was
not.
not.
No, no. I was aware of the power outages, but I wasn't aware of its
Yeah.
impacts to our.
Everyone at home should know how you guys are a phone call away, 24/7. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
don't know why
Thank
these
you.
things just don't happen during the middle of the day.
They never do.
But
They never do.
Never seem to do that, so. I will say, experiencing this thing, and Darren, I hope Darren will agree, you envision the worst possible things that could possibly happen. But with the help of the guys that we did have, the good technical people, Steve, John, and Andy, Brian Fransforth came in on the mechanic to work on it, Jack, because he came down, our electrician, I mean, just all those guys, it was seamless the way they were working, watching them try to get that thing started, keeping it running, monitoring it, checking the wet well, checking the manholes in the street. I was impressed, and I was happy to have them there.
Excellent.
Thank you, guys. It's awesome.
I'm realizing that we were talking, when I first said phase 2, you were thinking about a different phase 2 than I was.
Design.
Yes. The next,
Big picture,
Next big
I thought
picture.
you were running ahead.
I appreciate it because now I am, so.
Well, since the same people that are working on these bid packages
Yes,
are
I
probably gonna be
understand.
working on that phase,
Yeah.
I am desperate to, even just to get the packages ready to go out, right?
Yeah.
Design them, have them ready to go, and if you finish one, or as you're
Fix
finishing
the
one, you put it
known
out to
problems
bid.
first and then go
Yeah.
search for more.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
that's good. Plus, I have to work with her
I'll ask you
on
again in 3 months.
getting 8 miles of camera work done.
You're gonna wait that long?
We'll see.
Did you hear that? I have 8 miles
Yes,
of
I
camera
know
work
that
to get
too,
done,
yeah.
so she said she'd help me with that, and kind of point us in the right direction,
Yeah.
and, get us out there to do that work. So I want to comply.
All right.
All right,
Anything else on the superintendent's report?
I have nothing else.
Any commissioner questions for the superintendent? Any new business? Should we call Bob?
I was waiting for the phone to ring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we're on to new
I shut my
business.
phone off, so you can't call me. You're trying to call me, Bob, pick someone else. Is your phone on?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can call Susan. Bob is our commissioner with the most new business. We
Yes.
miss him tonight. He's
He's
had
got new
back
business.
surgery, and we hope he's healing well at home and enjoying watching us with the other 3 people watching at this hour. And, we miss you.
Well, we're on to number 8.
Well, I make a motion. to adjourn.
All right.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Uh,
We are adjourned at 5:22.
You beat your hour. Well done.
Here we are.
You get the under, not the over.